Okay. So let's do a quick recap of yesterday's notes, because what we did yesterday is going to follow what we're doing today. So someone kind of explain to us what yesterday was all about. In your own words, what was yesterday about? What were we doing? Finding the vertex in which form? Standard form. Okay. What's the difference in general terms between finding the vertex in standard form versus finding the vertex in vertex form? What's the big difference? So if you look back at vertex form, what's the big difference between finding the vertex in vertex form versus standard form? Elijah?
In vertex form, to find the vertex, you have really have to do much work.
Perfect. In vertex form, there is zero math. You just have to look at the equation and be able to identify H and K. In standard form, we have to do some math. Okay, how do we find the X value of the vertex? Okay, we use negative b over 2a. That gives us the X value of the vertex. Once we know the X value, we can plug it back in to get the Y value of the vertex. Right? Yeah. Once you know the vertex for any equation, how would you graph it? How would you graph an equation, a quadratic equation, once you know the vertex? By creating a table of values and picking 2 points above the vertex and 2 points below the vertex. Right? Okay, same thing. So today, we're literally just going to focus on the graphing piece. So exactly what we did yesterday, we're adding now the graphing piece to it. First thing you need to find is the vertex. So what is A for number 1? And what is B? Okay? A is 1, B is negative 4. I'm plugging that into negative B over 2A. So it's already negative, and I'm plugging in negative 4. So it becomes positive 4 all over 2 times 1. 4 divided by 2? 2. So the X value of my vertex is 2. What else is the X value? Your axis of symmetry. And remember, it's X equals 2. How do we find the Y value? Plug it in. So Y equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 8. 2 squared? 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 plus 8. What are you going to get? 4, right? Because negative 8 and 8 cancel out, so I'm just left with that 4. So the Y value of my vertex is 4. In order to graph, once we know our vertex, you're going to create a table of values. Your vertex goes in the center, just like it did when we were using vertex form. And we're going to pick 2 numbers below 2 and 2 numbers above 2. So what are 2 numbers below 2? 1 and 0. And 2 numbers above 2? 3 and 4. Okay, those are my X's. How do you think I'm going to find my Y's? Plug them in. Which number would you like to plug in? 0. Now, here's the nice thing about 0 with standard form. I don't really have to do any work. Everyone stop what you're doing and look at the screen. If I plug in 0, 0 squared is 0. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. What's left?
8.
Just that 8. Do you see that? Okay, so without thinking, 0 cancels out that term, and all that's left is 8. It's a nice thing about 0 in standard form. If you need to write it out, then you're going to write out 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 8, and you're going to still see that it's 0 minus 0 plus 8. What else will have a value of 8? Why does 4 have a value of 8? Thank you, because of symmetry. We're going to get this if it kills us. Symmetry. What other number would we like to plug in? 1. Okay. Y equals 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 8. 1 squared is 1. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus 8. 1 minus 4? Negative 3. Negative 3 plus 8? Positive 5. Now before I plot those points, let's think about what this is going to look like. What is my orientation? Up, because A is positive, so it should face up. If it faces down, you did something wrong. What's the shape? No change. So it shouldn't be skinny and it shouldn't be wide. It should be a normal graph. If it doesn't look normal, you did something wrong. Okay, let's plot those points. 0, 8, 1, 5, 2, 4. It faces up. It's a normal graph. So again, once we find the vertex, the process of graphing is exactly the same. Once you find the vertex, the process of graphing is exactly the same. So I would like you with your group to graph 2 and 3. You're going to do both of them. So fill in all the things you need for 2 and 3. We'll go over them in a second. Number 2, I need to know what A is and what B is. 2 is A, B is 8. So if I use negative B over 2A, I'm plugging in 8, so negative 8 over 2 times 2. A lot of us are skipping steps and trying to do things in our head, and we're missing some basic division. Okay, this is negative 8 over 4. What's negative 8 divided by 4? Negative 2. That is the x value of your vertex. It is also your axis of symmetry. To plug it in, we have y equals 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2. You'll notice every single time I'm writing these down. Negative 2 squared, 4. I'm going to even go a step further and keep writing the steps. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times negative 2, negative 16. What's 8 minus 16? Negative 8. Okay, my vertex is negative 2, negative 8. So when I create my table of values, negative 2, negative 8 goes in the middle. And I need 2 numbers above and 2 numbers below. So what are 2 numbers below negative 2? Below. Negative 3 and negative 4. And then negative 1 and 0. What is the easiest number to plug in? 0. Okay, and I was asked a couple times, how am I actually plugging this in? The same way we did when we had the x coordinate to find y. So I'm going to show you if I plug in 0. 0 squared is 0. Times 2 is 0. Plus 8 times 0 is 0. Everything's 0 when I plug in 0. What else is going to be 0? Negative 4 because of symmetry. What other number do we want to do? Negative 1? Okay. 2 times negative 1 squared plus 8 times negative 1. Yeah. Here. Negative 1 squared? 1. 2 times 1? 2. 8 times negative 1? 2 minus 8. Negative 6. What's the orientation of this graph? Up. It should face up. And what's the shape? So we just have an idea. It should be a stretch. Okay, so when I go to plot the points, negative 4, 0. Negative 3, negative 6. Negative 2, negative 8. And then I have some symmetry. Okay, it faces up. It's definitely a little skinnier than my normal one. That's what it should look like. Any questions on that one? Where are we getting stuck if we're getting stuck? We're okay? Okay, let's try the next one. Do you need more time or you want to just do it? Just do it. Okay. Christina's the only one talking to me, so I'm going to go with what she wants. What's A? And what's B? Okay. So A is -3, B is -12. When I plug it in to -b over 2a, so this is negative and I have a negative. So it becomes a positive 12 over 2 times -3, or 12 over -6. What's 12 divided by -6? -2. That is the x value of my vertex, and it's also the axis of symmetry. To find y, I'm plugging it back in. -3 times -2 squared minus 12 times -2 plus 1. -2 squared. 4. 4 times -3? -12. -12 times -2 is a positive 24 plus 1. 13. -12 plus 24 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. So your vertex should be -2, 13. Did anyone not get that and they're not sure why? Okay. What part? Is what supposed to be a negative? It is. Because, so your equation already has a negative in it, and b is negative, so that part becomes a positive 12. And then on the bottom, it's 2 times -3, which gives me -6. 12 divided by -6 is -2. That negative is going to be something that messes you up, and if you get it wrong for x, it's going to make y wrong, which means your whole problem's wrong. So you have to be really careful that you take each step at a time. What are two numbers below -2? -3, -4, and above? -1 and 0. I'm going to plug in 0. Some of you don't have to do any work for this. I'm still going to write it out just so you can see it. 0 squared is 0 times 3 is 0. That's gone. -12 times 0 is 0. That's gone. What's left? Just the 1. And because of symmetry, if I plug in -4, I also get 1. What else would you like to plug in? -1? Okay. -3 times -1 squared minus 12 times -1 plus 1. -1 squared is 1. 1 times -3 is -3. -12 times -1 is a positive 12 plus 1. -3 plus 12. 9. 9 plus 1? Before I graph this, what's the orientation? Down. It should face down. What's the shape?
No change.
What's the shape? It's a stretch because A is larger than 1. I'm glad this front table knows what I'm talking about. Everyone else is looking at me like I have 5 heads. I sure hope you are understanding, and if you're not, you are thinking about a question to ask. If we plot our points, -4, 1. -3, 10. -2, 13. And then some symmetry. Your quiz on Friday will potentially have a graph in standard form. It will potentially have a graph in vertex form, so you have to know how to graph. What can't you do right now? Where are we still struggling? So everybody got 100% and knows what they're doing.
Yes. Yeah. I usually mess up on my signals.
You mess up on the negative sign, so you're finding your mistakes, okay? So here's the thing. If you mess up on a negative sign, you're going to get a table of values that probably will not match what your graph is supposed to look like. So make sure you check orientation and shape to see if it matches. Okay? That's a good check for you. Anything else? Okay.